Welcome to the Off-World UFO Report. A man named David Sugarman was reviewing his footage from the Miami Air and Sea Show on May 28th, and he saw something flying by at an incredible speed. When played at the normal rate, the object is hardly visible. We have to slow it down in order to get a better look at what has flown across the frame. And I've slowed it down to 1/4 of the speed. Here's the full frame so you can get a better look at the entire trajectory that this object takes. Now I want to break up the screen. This plane is about 20 feet tall, so if you multiply that to figure out how much space is involved, there's at least 1,000 feet. And the object is actually behind the plane, so it's probably traveling farther than 1,000 feet in just under a second.
That was a bug.
Come on.
That's a bug.
Retired game developer and charlatan Mick West had to get in his bug hypothesis as usual, and as usual, he was wrong. Not only does this object clearly come out of the ocean, it's also rotating. So we're going to take a closer look at this rotation to see if we can find out the revolutions per minute. Let's count how many blinks, because there's a propeller or a wing or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 rotations in 1 second, which is 540 RPMs. Keep in mind that all of these calculations are extremely rough and parsimonious. They're probably underestimating, if anything. And for those of you who think that everything is a drone, let's look at the only drone that can go from sea to air at the current time. This is state-of-the-art technology from Japan. It has a separate but integrated system for operating in water and air. But I want you to see the takeoff because it's a little bit slower than what we just saw at the Miami Sea and Air Show. There have been other objects seen with this sort of apparent rotation. With this one, the rotation seems a bit erratic. It's hard to tell what's happening here, but I'm going to zoom in and slow it down so we can get a bit of a better idea what this object is doing. At 50% speed, it seems clear that it's rotating horizontally, which is different from the vertical rotation we saw in the other object, but I think it may have something to do with its trajectory. This one was seen over London, right by Parliament, and it's doing an amazing amount of RPMs, probably well over 1,000. This is one of the more impressive videos that I've seen. And to state the obvious, it's not a drone, it's not a bug, it's not a bird, it's not a frisbee. The US government seems to have taken notice of this technology because the 30-some studies that were declassified as a part of the Advanced Aerial Threat Identification Program, or ATIP, the secret UFO investigation by the Defense Intelligence Agency, included a lot of titles of interest with this kind of propulsion and flight that we observed. And it's clear from the list that they were interested in various types of advanced propulsion systems involving wormholes, programmable matter, and system controls that don't involve using one's hands to operate, as well as spintronics. Spintronics is a field of electronics where electron spin is manipulated to yield a desired outcome. And it uses magnetic layers separated by non-magnetic layers through which the spin-polarized electrons are transmitted. It's described as a future technology which allows information to be carried and stored. It also has a transport application, and scientists are exploring the potential of spinning spacecraft as well. This paper from Purdue University talks about how spinning spacecraft will maneuver. The study is full of really dense language and math that I can't read, but it seems like the upshot of this is that it'll take less fuel and the spacecraft will weigh less if it's spinning. For spacecraft that move from a volcano to the depths of the ocean to space, it's interesting to look at ATIP's other study on programmable matter, because programmable matter seems to have to do with transmedium travel, and it's about how you distribute heat and conductivity in a spacecraft. For a spacecraft to go from one medium to another, you would need to be able to store heat really effectively and insulate your spacecraft from the effects of the mediums that you're traveling in. And this is really important for volcanoes and the ocean. So check out this rotating object seen by my favorite volcano, Popocatepetl. So this one was seen and recorded in early December 2021, and there's been a lot of analysis on this. You'll see this reflective wing or propeller that appears, and I wanted to do a comparison with a bird because you can easily see the bird's wings and they don't reflect light. So look, there's a bird. Now I want to show you guys bugs. There's a bunch of bugs flying around in this one. They fly erratically and they disappear. They're out of focus. Now watch the UFO. The wing or propeller appears periodically about every 3 or 4 frames. It reflects light and it's in different positions, in strange, unbird-like positions. And crucially, if you look really closely, you can see that it came from behind the volcano, not in front. There is no frame where this black object is in front of the volcano, which means that it's about 7 kilometers or about 4 or 5 miles from the camera. I should give credit to the analysis done by Josue Hernandez, who goes by Ledrak on YouTube. He's the one who made these videos with the stabilization and the trajectory mapped out that you see here, showing us exactly where the object came from and its path away from the volcano, as well as its relative size. And I thought this was really interesting because it's hard to gauge the distances involved and the size of the crater, which I had no idea that it's almost 900 meters across the crater, and it's about 2 or 3 kilometers from where the object appears to where it leaves the screen. And Josue used this to compute the velocity, relative velocity, as well as the RPMs. So he computed that the object is going about Mach 5.8, or around 4,500 miles per hour. And it's spinning at 900 RPMs, which is almost twice as fast as the one we saw at the Miami Sea and Air Show. And it has this wing that changes position, and it's technology that is far away more advanced than anything that humanity has extant and even under patent right now. If you check the patent system, you can tell that there are some reverse engineering projects with some of this technology, but it's not operational in a lot of cases. Definitely nothing like this. Another fascinating case that Ledrac showed in this interview with Skywatchers Mexico is a sort of reconnaissance mission on SpaceX. And for those of you who follow these kind of things, you'll know that SpaceX often has unidentified flying objects mysteriously appearing around its launch pads and following it up into orbit. So this one up in the sky is not the one we're going to focus on. It's the one that flies near the platform right there. It only appears in 3 frames, which means that it's moving incredibly fast, and it seems to have a propeller, but not a propeller in the sense that we would usually think of it, because the whole craft turns just like the one we saw by the volcano. So you don't see the propeller here, but he ingeniously manages to fill out the color contrast here, because the object appears gray against the black of that support platform, and he reconstructs what it theoretically looks like, and then he does a little model of how it might fly. Check this out. Next time on Off-World UFO Report, we'll be looking at some of the top sightings anywhere in the world in history.
Oh my god! What the fuck? Tata!
I can't believe they considered that to be a UFO.